Ed Blakely has served in different capacities under a succession of presidential administrations, has guided government policy on urban planning, and as a widely cited academic. My name is Sean Britton, and each week Ed and I have a chat about what's the latest news out of the United States, talking everything politics, planning and policy from sea to shining sea. Find us on iTunes, Whooshka, Facebook and Twitter at US of Ed. We've got to talk about this one, America's latest and largest mass shooting event. Actually, I'm not even sure whether it's the latest one anymore, given the way these things move, but 59 dead, over 500 injured. Las Vegas turned into a war zone, and yet outside of the truly disturbing body count, the reporting around this incident, the conversations we're having, all seem routine. What's your take on the crisis?
Well, this is the kind of thing where a real president is necessary, where you bring all the people together, not just your group, and play to your group. And in the case of Donald Trump, his group are gun supporters. And even if you were a gun supporter, like Reagan was and others, you really ask people to be calm, to think about guns and where guns can be in life, and what needs to be done to protect people. Remember, after Reagan, the Brady Bill was passed that eliminated this very type of weapon that was used in this massacre. So here's a chance for Trump to really be presidential and move beyond playing to one group, but taking all of America into consideration. And let's hope he can do it and stop bragging about what a great man he is.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this response. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the White House press secretary, has given the kind of standard Republican Party line following this kind of event these days. Now is not the time to talk about gun control, which of course leaves a lot of people, especially Democrats, asking if not now, then when. I've heard this repeated over the last several days, but I'll put it to you. If there could be no serious new legislation enacted after Sandy Hook, does that mean it can never happen?
It's not going to happen on this watch. I think the president has pushed himself into a very difficult corner by only having the support of the very group that supports guns. He has no support outside that group. So he can't even appeal to the kind of people that he needs to in order to change the course here. Moreover, if he does appeal to others, he loses his group. So he's not the president of the United States. He's the president of about 30% of the United States, and that's all he wants to be.
We knew Trump as president would face some incredible tests of leadership, as any president does. Now, we've actually got several piling up essentially at once. Let's talk about this other big test for Trump, Puerto Rico. Last week, it was a test he was failing. What's going on now?
Well, he's moved from F- to F. Certainly, he's visited the place, but supplies still aren't coming in. The necessary requirements, and that is moving the U.S. Navy, getting all the cruise lines and people like this into all the ports there, doing the kinds of things that a commander-in-chief should and must do, still have not happened. The mayor of San Juan said he's the president of misleading America rather than leading America. And he's misleading people into believing this crisis is getting better when in fact it's getting worse. Now he needs to call out all stops, which would include calling on some of our allies from Brazil and other places to use their navies to assist the Puerto Ricans. People have to get out of Puerto Rico, and it's going to have to be by ship.
Trump compared the Puerto Rican situation to Katrina in a pretty dismissive way, saying, you've only had 16, 17 people die. We had thousands die from Katrina. It seemed to be inferring it just wasn't that big of a priority. So how are Puerto Ricans meant to feel about that?
Well, I guess they're meant to die, if that's going to get the president's attention, and it certainly hasn't done that in Las Vegas. I don't know what he's talking about. he seems to personalize every issue. He can't get beyond the fact that there are people in Puerto Rico, if they're not dying now, soon will be. And that's because of the inaction of the government that's supposed to protect them. So, God help us, people will die in the thousands in Puerto Rico, and soon, unless a lot more aid comes there, very, very soon. And it can only be by ship. And those ships should have been gone, leaving for Puerto Rico 2 weeks ago, not now.
We spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, and you mentioned that if Puerto Rico comes on as the 51st American state, that would be a boon for Republicans as it's a fairly conservative nation. But if Trump is going to anger so many of them, could the reverse be true? Could this be quite a negative thing for Republicans?
Yes. That was something that I was going to say, that here was a place where Republicans have done quite well traditionally, and they could turn 180 degrees quite quickly because they'll have the searing memory of how this president didn't help him. Moreover, the Republican Party has not lifted a finger in Congress anywhere to assist Puerto Ricans. This is a tragedy of enormous proportions, and why the Republican Party is not trying to help secure its wider base in Puerto Rico is well beyond anything I can fathom.
Moving on to healthcare, we saw the Republican vote, their supposed last-ditch attempt to repeal and replace Obamacare, fail, but the party swore it would not be the end of it. Trump himself has indicated a desire to just take away the money and let Obamacare implode, causing untold amounts of chaos. You've said that's not going to happen, so what's the latest?
Well, the latest is he's going to issue some executive order that apparently will issue block grants to the states and let them put together some faux Obamacare on their own. This is okay for California and New York and big states, but for small states, this will be a tragedy because the block grants they'll get will not be nearly sufficient enough for them to take care of all the people that need it. And some governors, I think 16 governors, have come out in opposition to this idea already. So Trump is not listening to what he needs to, and that is a bipartisan coalition and having actual hearings where you listen to insurance companies, doctors, delivers of medical services, drug companies, needs to be done now. Obama, the past president, will defeat, listen to this, he will defeat anything that undercuts the program that he developed. He still has that much power, and Trump ought to be aware of it.
Well, that does sound absolutely incredible. And looking at the approval ratings of the former President Barack Obama, obviously he was still having quite an impact right up until the surprise election of Trump. I wanted to talk about one other big issue for Trump, the Russia probe. In between all this, the Russia probe, it's moving steadily along with Mueller behind the wheel. Any new developments?
Well, a couple of new developments. It's obvious that the Russians have been involved, have been caught red-handed with this Facebook probe, and Mueller is going to start issuing subpoenas very soon for people to testify before grand juries with the imminent possibility of indictments. So it's pretty clear Mueller is taking a course where he's going to indict everyone around Trump, leaving Trump quite isolated. And if Trump tries to save any of them, he will indict him and have him convicted of attempting to block the course of justice. So Trump is losing ground here. Why he says nothing's happening with Russia? He's the only one on the planet that believes this. And He certainly put Kushner, his own son, and other people in harm's way here. It would have been far better for him to really cooperate than take the course he's taken.
Finally, Ed, just wanted to flag Cuba with you. We've seen American diplomats in Cuba come under some mysterious attack. Now, this would appear they were audio-based attacks meant to bring on nausea, some mild brain symptoms and the like. In response, the US has just expelled 15 Cuban diplomats from the country. What does this mean for the rather tender relations between the two countries?
Well, I think in this case, and I don't know all the insides, the Cuban government probably didn't have much, if anything, to do with this, but it was very slow in trying to rectify it. That's in part because they're very disorganized. They need the United States. This will hamper the relationships, but it won't kill them because Cuba needs the United States now after the storms hit Cuba, and the United States needs Cuba as an ally with Venezuela falling apart. So I think this is let's duke it out and for a few minutes, but as soon as things can return to normal, they will.
Ed and I'll be back next week to talk the latest on American news and politics. Subscribe on iTunes and Whooshka to stay up to date, and show us some love on Facebook and Twitter at US of Ed.